Hey guys, welcome back to my video. It's Shelby. As you saw in the title, I am doing a review on the movie About Time. I watched this movie on Netflix. I'm sure you can watch it other places, I'm not sure. But yeah, watched it on Netflix. It's a really good movie. I really liked it. I liked the storyline a lot. And so if you haven't watched this movie or don't want to hear any spoilers, then I would click off this video. But if you're interested in the storyline or you've already watched it, stay and we will talk about this movie and everything. So I have my laptop here for some notes. The storyline follows Tim and his quest for love, and so yeah, his family is James and Mary, they're his parents, and he's got a sister Catherine, but they call her Kit Kat, and Uncle Desmond. Uncle Desmond's a good character in the movie, as like an extra character line. You don't really know too much about Uncle Desmond, but you do see where he discovers that like he's loved by the family, and you kind of get glimpses of his relationship with Kit Kat. Uncle Desmond is kind of just like off in his own world all the time. He's kind of just mumbling to himself, reading. They don't really go into all of that, but they do mention it. And so Tim is interested in finding love. So the movie starts with them kind of talking about like what they do all the time, and they drink tea and have family movie nights and spend time on the beach and stuff like that. But then Tim's first love story is, I guess it's with a girl that was there for New Year's, but I feel like that didn't really matter. I guess it didn't matter for Tim's story, but it did later on for Kit Kat's. But his first like love interest in the movie, which was Kit Kat's friend Charlotte, and she visits for the summer. And during the summer, between New Year's and the summer, he finds out he can time travel along his own storyline, and so he can go back in time. He can go back in time as much as he wants within his own storyline, which later you find out if you go back like before someone was born, then everything kind of shifts. Or I guess if you go back before that child was conceived, I guess would be, because the dad mentions at the point of conception that it could completely change the child's makeup, which you'll see that later on. But yeah, he discovers he can time travel, and so he, Charlotte's leaving, and then he decides, well, I'm gonna time travel to right before she left, and then I will confess my love to her. She then denies him and says, if you would have told me earlier in the summer, then maybe. And then he goes to earlier in the summer, and she says, no, I'm not really interested in you, but maybe later, because I don't want to mess up things for the summer. And so yeah, so that doesn't really work with Charlotte, and he just kind of goes back and just like lets her go. A point I forgot to make earlier is that Tim's dad, James, retires at the age of 50, which is very young, which it'll show that later. And then so he retires at the age of 50, and he likes to read, I guess, and they play ping pong, the two of them, a lot. So what happens after Charlotte. After Charlotte, Tim moves to London to pursue a career as a lawyer, and he lives with his father's acquaintance, Harry. Harry is a writer, a play writer, and yeah, and then it kind of follows Tim going interning or whatever, and Tim visits this restaurant where it's actually like it's a dark restaurant. I don't know, it's like pitch black, and you sit there with total strangers, and he meets Mary, not his mom. That comes up a lot. They, flirt, and afterwards Mary gives Tim her phone number, and then Tim gets home, and Harry's upset about his play that had been ruined by an actor who forgot their lines, and then you know how Tim can go back in time. He goes back in time and talks to one of the actors, and then helps a different actor, and goes to the play and whatever. And then later on, he goes to call Mary, and he discovers that he doesn't have Mary's phone number because he went back in time to help Harry. And so he doesn't have Mary's phone number. And so then it goes into he remembers things that him and Mary talked about at that restaurant. He remembers that Mary loved Kate Moss. And so he goes to an art show, finds out that Mary has a boyfriend, and then finds out when Mary and boyfriend met. He time travels to the party, and then he swoops in before Mary could meet boyfriend. And so they start dating. They move in together. He meets her parents. She's from America. All of the things. And then one night he goes to a play with his coworker. I don't remember the coworker's name. But he goes to play with a coworker, and who does he see there? Charlotte. Charlotte decides she's interested, and so her and Tim go out to dinner. And Tim realizes how much he loves Mary, and he proposes to Mary, and they get married and have a baby girl. Her name is Posy. Forward a little bit, it's Posy's birthday. Kit Kat, Tim's sister, does not show up for Posy's birthday, which is out of character because she loves Mary and Posy very much. Kit Kat's boyfriend Jimmy shows up to the party, and he's like, oh, we got into an argument, and she left, and she should be here right now. Which, come to find out, Kit Kat got into a car accident and was in the hospital because she was drunk. And so from there, Tim does some time traveling, trying to save her, and then he goes back, and Posy is not Posy. Posy's a little boy, because he time traveled prior to the point of conception for Posy. So then he time travels back and reverses everything. He has this conversation with his dad about it, how to fix it and everything. And so, yeah. Tim finally is like, okay, I can't help Kit Kat in the past, but I can help her in the future. And so they go about life. They go through the crash, and him and Mary help Kit Kat improve her life. She actually ends up settling down with Tim's friend Jay and having a baby. And then Tim and Mary have another child, a boy. I don't remember the boy's name. I don't actually think they said the boy's name. And then they go about their normal life, and then Tim finds out that his dad has cancer. And Tim's dad has known that he has cancer for a long time, and so his dad would continue to travel back to experience things, and he effectively extends his life until then, and he decides, you know, it's my time. This time I'm not gonna travel back in time. That it'll be my time to go. And he tells Tim to live each day twice in order to be truly happy. First, with all the everyday tensions and worries, but then the second time noticing how sweet the world can be. And Tim follows the advice and all that, and then Tim's dad, James, dies. Tim off and on travels to see his dad because he misses his dad. And then Mary tells Tim he wants a third child. And he's like, okay, it's happening. He's reluctant because he knows that once they have a baby that he won't be able to visit his dad again. So when right before they have the baby, Tim time travels one more time to have that one last like time with his dad, and it's a really sweet moment where they play some ping pong together, and they time travel back to a memory before it was like Tim's early childhood, and Tim was like, we can't because that's before the kids were born. And the dad said that if you don't change anything, then you're not changing anything in the future. And so they go back to when Tim was like, I'd say Tim was like 8 maybe, and they were on the beach playing and you know, skipping stones and enjoying the waves and stuff like that. And so very bittersweet moment because he knows that that's the last that he'll be able to time travel back. And then Mary gives birth to a baby girl, and Tim realizes that he can never go back to see his father again. And then he decides that he wants to live each day once like a normal person, but I'm sure as life goes on he time travels off and on. He wants to live each day first as though it's the second, so living with like the joy and peace that he would have from living a second day of the same day, if that makes sense. Yeah, I thought it was a very good movie, a unique I've never like watched a movie where they time travel like that. I watched like time travel movies and stuff like that, but never quite the way that it was in this movie. And yeah, I thought it was really good. I would highly recommend it. Yeah, so thanks for watching my review on the movie About Time. Check it out on Netflix as it's on there. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.